Morning, the trial of Casey Bird came to a dramatic conclusion on the same day Bird gave testimony. And a recent report shows the Commonwealth has plenty of pharmacies, but many are at risk of closure.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. We're coming up on 5:29 this morning, and it's Friday, and we are going to be at the Nibrock Festival today. So if you guys are interested, please stop by and see us. But for now, let's check in with meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast this morning.
And it looks absolutely beautiful this afternoon in Laurel County. 72 outside our door here at WYMT. A lot of clouds. A few of us with a little fog this morning. Not many, as you can see. Williamsburg is the only issue right now with 2.5 mile visibility, and that's actually up since the last report. And temperature-wise, minus Wise and Grundy and Williamsburg, we're all in the 70s. Oh, heavy feel to the air. We're not going to have to practice football in this afternoon. No, you are not. Check it out. The fringe effects of Debbie are departing. Maybe a shower, a thunder shower up until about 10, 11 o'clock this morning. Otherwise, you check out the Nibrock forecast for today. We show the improvement for the afternoon, which means, yes, you're into the sunshine this afternoon for football practice too, but the humidity's dropping, setting the stage for an absolutely last 2 days of Nibrock. I think I missed Tracy Bird or something like that last night. A high today in Corbin, up to 85. More about your First Alert 7-day forecast in this half hour. Madison?
All right, Tim, thank you. The man accused of killing London police officer Logan Medlock was found guilty last night on all charges. The verdict against Casey Bird was returned last night after about 6 hours of deliberation. Bird was convicted on charges of murder, DUI, and criminal mischief. Yesterday, jurors heard from the accused as he took the witness stand. Bird was emotional, recounting the events of the night that he admittedly got behind the wheel while blacking out from a night of drinking. Bird recalled drinking between 8 to 10 beers as well as 5 to 6 shots of bourbon before driving away from the party. As a corrections officer, he remembers telling officers on the scene, quote, "I was on the same side."
I knew that it was a short trip, and the road I had come in on, like I said, was a kind of a back road, rural road, and I just thought I could make it.
Do you remember the drive?
Not really.
The jury also heard from Bird's attorney and the Laurel County Commonwealth's attorney. The defense, arguing for a lower sentence, did not avoid the fact that Bird was drinking and driving, but they argued that the case has been handled unfairly due to the victim's status as a police officer.
All of these items of evidence that I bring to you, I bring them not to exonerate Casey Bird. I bring these to you so that you can accurately determine whether this is extreme indifference to the value of human life. That is what is required for murder.
You know who else would have been a wreck if this went slow? Casey Bird. You know who else would have been a wreck if they didn't run through the red light? Casey Bird. You know who else would have been a wreck if they weren't drinking and driving? Casey Bird.
The prosecution claimed that no matter the victim's career, it does not change Bird's actions. With his speed more than 70 miles per hour and his blood alcohol level more than 0.3, they say the case was clear-cut. A grand jury indicted a man on murder charges. Brandon Mullins of Stanford was charged with 2 counts of murder and 1 count of tampering with physical evidence. The charges stem from police finding 2 bodies in the Eubanks community, which were later identified as Mullins' father and uncle. Mullins is being held at the Pulaski County Detention Center. Police in southern Kentucky are looking for some home invasion suspects. The sheriff in Whitley County says someone broke into a man's home early Wednesday morning, attacked him, and then stole his money and his SUV. WYMT's Phil Pendleton has more on the investigation.
A caretaker arrived for work Wednesday morning to discover her client was the victim of a violent crime in his home.
Someone had basically forced their way in on him at the front door, demanding money from him, ended up taking an undisclosed amount of money.
They also took his SUV, a white GMC Yukon. The sheriff received information that it may have been spotted in Tennessee. They're not sure where exactly it or the suspects are, but they say they have good evidence in the case.
I feel fairly confident at some point the investigators will solve this.
Police are not identifying the victim. They're also not identifying the exact house on Mountain View Road where this took place. They say they are keeping some aspects of this case confidential to not hinder the investigation and hurt their chances of finding whoever is responsible.
We don't feel this was a random incident. We feel that the victim was targeted specifically. We don't feel anybody else in the area is in danger.
The sheriff says it's a troubling case given where the crime occurred.
Your home's your castle, so as far as you can go, and a lot of people feel victimized in their home. I mean, it feels a lot more personal when it's in your home.
The homeowner was taken to the hospital but was expected to be released. In Whitley County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
The sheriff says he believes it is likely more than one person was responsible for the home invasion. Part of Interstate 75 southbound in southern Kentucky was blocked after a truck fire yesterday afternoon. It happened between the two Williamsburg exits in Whitley County. Police say a tanker truck caught fire, but the fire was put out before it could spread to the main fuel tank. The fire response and cleanup resulted in major backup in the southbound lanes. No one was hurt. A Whitley County man is facing multiple drug charges. Police arrested Roger Johnson of Williamsburg on Wednesday. Johnson was charged with manufacturing and possession of meth. The 57-year-old was charged with possessing drug paraphernalia. He was taken to the Whitley County Detention Center. A Texas man is now behind bars in Laurel County. Police stopped a car as they said the driver, No Vega of Houston, was acting suspiciously. Police said they found a smoking pipe and crystal-like substance before Vega began running away. After catching Vega, police said they found open beer bottles in the car. Vega is facing resisting arrest, possession of meth, and other charges. He was taken to the Laurel County Correctional Center. Kentucky State Police released a statement regarding a story we told you Wednesday about a man who says a KSP helicopter flying overhead destroyed his garden. The release saying in part, quote, upon receiving a complaint yesterday and speaking with the involved parties, it appears the Vico community has suffered significant damage from recent storms, and KSP believes the marijuana eradication did not cause damage to any property, end quote. You can read their full response on WYMT.com. Breathitt Countyans can expect traffic changes in Jackson soon. Officials with the State Highway Department announced crews will begin work on Highway 15. The northbound lane will be closed between Indian Hollow Road and Lakeside Drive. A 30 miles per hour speed limit will be imposed on the work zone. Brief delays are to be expected as crews move barriers. This will begin Monday, August 12th. A Knott County bridge that was replaced is now open. Road Department officials said the bridge is at the intersection of Kentucky 550 and Kentucky 2759. Drivers are encouraged to use caution. Officials said stripping and guardrail installation will be completed later. Some crews in Kentucky have made a trip south to help those impacted by Tropical Depression Debbie. Many departments from Kentucky, including Kentucky Utilities and Emergency Disaster Services, have been in the southeast helping provide relief. Daniel Laurie with Kentucky Utilities says they are working on several different operations.
This week we've sent about 110 of our contractors. These are line technicians and tree trimmers to assist with the efforts down there. Other utilities help as well. So a lot of crews gather to help get power restored.
Kentucky utility members in the Carolinas have been released and are coming home. Kentucky is ranked one of the best in the nation when it comes to the number of pharmacies on street corners. We're third per capita, trailing New York and West Virginia. Despite those numbers, pharmacists we talked to say stores are closing and there's little relief in sight. Kristen Kennedy investigates the state of pharmacies in the Commonwealth.
I get phone calls literally daily of pharmacies that are considering closure.
Dr. Ben Mudd used to work in a retail pharmacy. Now, as the executive director of the Kentucky Pharmacists Association, he advocates for them.
Pharmacies are filling more prescriptions than they ever have, but they're not making enough money to keep the lights on and pay their folks.
Not only are we seeing under reimbursement for the drug, we're not getting paid dispensing fees. So it's not just about the cost of the drug, it's also what it costs to have employees and have an actual location for people to visit, have a pharmacist that they can talk to.
Dr. Shelley Roberts started Grassroots Pharmacy with her husband 7 years ago. She says since then, costs have risen, reimbursements have fallen. In the past 2 years, 80 independently owned pharmacies like Grassroots have closed their doors for good. That's according to the Kentucky Pharmacists Association. This on top of CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid closing stores and slowing their own growth.
There is some hope. The governor signed Senate Bill 188 earlier this year. It restricts pharmacy benefit managers, PBMs. They negotiate all prescription drug sales and keep a portion of the proceeds.
Do you believe the bill that's going to go into effect in January will put an end to the problems that pharmacists have with PBMs?
I don't think this is the end, but I think that it will help tremendously.
The bill won't go into effect until January 1st. Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Several years ago, Kentucky passed a law cutting PBMs out of the state's Medicaid program. Senate Bill 188 has similar restrictions, but this time on private health insurers. When we return, Deadpool is breaking box office records, and now the popular character could be breaking auction ones too.
Signs of drier air not too far away. It's coming in. We'll time it out and what it means for the weekend. You're going to love it. Details with your First Alert 7-day forecast as your WIMT Mountain Morning News continues.